Good morning everyone, today we're checking out a brand new video from True Green where he will be creating more Fakemon from real Pokemon names. I believe this is his third video on the subject, but either way, let's hop in and see who gets introduced today. I was trying to think of something with names, which is why I said introduced.
Hey guys, Ron here, and almost 3
Ron.
years ago I made an iconic video where I hopped on that trend where Fakemon artists take an existing Pokemon name like Cobalion and make an entirely new Pokemon with the same name like
Oh, right, I gotta move for the shiny. There we are, that's better.
this Cobalt Lion. Some heavy hitters like Giratina here have become a huge part of True Green 7's history, so I thought I'd finally make some more. Please leave a comment with the names you'd give
Wait, no, this is only a second video?
these Fakemon if they weren't part of this challenge. For now, let's make a completely new Pokemon you've never seen before, named Venusaur. But before we begin, thank you to Blizzard Entertainment for sponsoring this segment. By now, you've probably heard of Blizzard's iconic free-to-play digital... Now, Venusaur is named after the Venus flytrap, despite not having one anywhere on his body. He also has a suffix that implies he's a dinosaur, even though he kinda isn't either. So how about I make a Venus flytrap inspired dinosaur Fakemon, but also take inspiration from the name Venus in general, the Roman goddess of beauty. I'm gonna make a feminine dino that has this femme fatale vibe. I think its concept would be far more appropriate for the name Venusaur. Now, I'm basically gonna have to juggle a feminine figure with a dinosaur. It'll have the same vibe as Poison.
I mean, it's not impossible. People have been doing it for years. For the community. For the community.
Ivy from DC Comics. I'm giving her the look of a plant-based villainess. The head will also be insanely spiky, almost like the short hair of a flapper. This 20s aesthetic actually helped flesh out the design quite a bit. She has a collar that looks like the
look, you even gave her a beauty mole mark.
maw of a Venus flytrap, but also like a frill-necked lizard. There are leaves that act like feathers of a theropod, and even the arms are very underdeveloped, basically like a leaf. Thorny tail, and the colors we're all familiar with. The final design will have slightly less humanoid proportions so that it sells the dinosaur aspect a bit more. Beware, Venusaur, the predator Pokemon.
Not bad.
A grass type with the abilities Intimidate, Strong Jaw, and Merciless. What does the Dex have to say about this monster?
Venusaur are apex predators who hunt by standing still in the greenery of thick jungles. They blend into their surrounding by retracting
Love the look of that shiny. It looks like it's a desert version.
their heads into their sticky collar and closing their eyes. The smell they exude is so sweet and alluring that bug Pokemon let their guard down around Venusaur. When their prey approaches, they clamp their collar together and begin to bite. If this doesn't finish off their bug-type prey immediately, they will run away, as they are extremely weak to bug moves and cannot hold their own unless catching their prey by surprise. This rarely occurs as their toxic bite is rather potent.
I love the idea that this Pokemon
So it's a grass dog type, but it will definitely have access to a poison type move, or just poison type moves.
actually preys on Pokemon that it's super weak to, and the fact that it looks rather anthropomorphically feminine but is extremely feral shows that its looks are all appearance-based. In reality, it acts nothing like a human. I love the idea of monstrous creatures mimicking humans to lure in prey, but not being remotely human in any other way. It's a cool sci-fi and horror trope.
Wonderful.
Now, Swalot swallows a lot. I'm not going to pretend like the name doesn't fit, but I think we can repurpose the name for a cooler mon than a giant stomach. What if Swalot was a combo of swan and pilot? I already made a waterfowl with a pilot aesthetic a few years ago, but this time it'll be merged with plain parts and look more metallic, as opposed to an old-timey pilot.
So flying steel type then?
I want a modern pilot for the modern Pokemon fan. I'm basically making a thick-necked, friendly swan with armor that looks like a pilot's headwear, and this membrane in front of its face that looks like an oxygen mask and or aviators. Honestly, dude is heavily inspired by Karoo from One Piece, at least aesthetically. Hard neck feathers that look like the collar of an aviator jacket. Dude's entire body is covered in plating that looks like those old metal warplanes. A wing-like lapel on the chest, and exact kind of colors you'd expect from a metal bird. Say hi to Swalot,
Flying
the
steel
avian
type.
Pokemon. A flying steel type with the abilities Keen Eye, Sniper, and Technician. Check out its cool Dex entry.
Swalot can control its reflective feathers, enabling it to blend into the sky and fly undetected. It can store berries within the metal compartments on its body for quick snacks while traveling long distances. A thick, transparent membrane encases its face, preventing debris from hitting its eyes as it flies at top speed. The large round chamber on its skull protects it from impact, but also acts as a radar dish that helps Swalot keep its sense of direction. An inner layer of soft feathers helps keeps it warm. There is no flying type that can last longer in the air than Swalot. The record is held by a particular Swalot that once circled the entire globe in 7 days.
I was worried in the beginning, but I think
Wait, that's a reference to something.
we ended up making a natural-looking pilot bird. Next will be tough to upgrade. Garchomp is a combo of Gargoyle, Gar, and Chomp. Maybe even Gargantuan. We'll never know. Let's make something a bit clearer. A Garlic that can chomp. We don't have any garlic Pokemon, so
really?
why not combine it with the concept of a chef to make meal prep Pokemon? This definitely won't be as good as Garchomp, so lower your expectations, but I'm sure Arvin would love him. So,
Yeah, you're basing it off Garlic. The only other Fakemon I've ever seen that's even close to being based on Garlic is Garlickid and from Pokemon Uranium.
imagine a big bulb of garlic as the head, with the stem on top in the shape of a chef's hat. It has those chompers, and the layers of garlic look like a mustache. Its roots at the bottom act like its body, but also mimic the look of a chef's uniform. Some leaves as traditional facial hair, and these dots that mimic buttons are little root nodules that I don't think garlics usually have, but some legumes do. The point is, they aren't random dots. Pretty straightforward with the colors. Obviously, it's looking a bit oniony, so it's not all white, but I'm fine with that. Compliments to Garchomp, the Appetite Pokemon. A grass normal type with the abilities Stench, Aroma Veil, and Harvest. Its Dex entries explains everything.
Garchomp are plant-based Pokemon that produce a special enzyme from their mouth that heightens the flavor of any food. As a result, anything Garchomp eats tastes delicious to this Pokemon. Despite its hard-to-read face, it's quite passionate about life and always content, since its days are full of tasty food. Chefs extract Garchomp's saliva and dilute it in order to make the world's most versatile spice. When threatened, Garchomp will begin to produce its enzyme in abundance, filling the air with an overwhelming scent that burns the eyes and nose.
Its signature move, Garlic Breath, is basically a grass-type Dragon Breath with the same power and potential to paralyze. We need a Garlic Pokemon already, sheesh. There are so many fruits and vegetables that can be turned into Pokemon, and we really have no blatant chef Pokemon. I want to see a...
I mean, the only ones I can actually even think of that all food in the game is the Applin line, the Fido line, the Smoliv line, and the Gorgonacle line. And just those 4. If I am missing any, let me know down in the comments below.
Chef hat on a Pokemon design already. Next will be the biggest stretch in the video. Stoutland's name comes from stout in reference to its bulk, and Newfoundland, a breed of dog from, I assume, Newfoundland. But even that name didn't feel appropriate for the guy. Let's go in a simpler direction. Stout generally means thick and bulky, so let's combine the word stout and island to make a new Stoutland that is basically a living island. Why not a wide crab with a volcano on its back, so that when it's partially submerged in the water, it looks like a volcanic island, but then it pops up and attacks. If this
kind of feels like this would be similar to a summit crab from RimWorld, or the Rocky Beach Pokemon created by Pokedex fellow.
This dog makes sense with the name, then our crab will too. Actually, one of the very first Fakemon on this channel was a similar concept that I've always wanted to see fully realized and redesigned. So let's finally flesh out Ventex after nearly a decade. So we're putting a volcano on the back of a crab. The volcano will have holes that'll look like a smiley face. Always love Pokemon with false faces. The eyes are down here, and when it comes to the big meaty claws, one will be way bigger, as is the
big meaty claws. Well, these claws ain't just for picking up mates.
I decided to make the underside of the crab look like the vegetation that would grow at the bottom of a volcano, but in the vague shape of a beard. It's naturally the moss that would accumulate on a sea animal. It's a bit inspired by a decorator crab, which decorate themselves with whatever they find. I want the colors to be bright, festive, and tropical, and slowly as I developed I made the claws glow with heat, but they ended up looking like fruit slices, I guess. Almost like a persimmon slice, which I love.
Oh my
Makes
god,
it look more tropical. Check out Stoutland, the Caldera Pokemon.
Look at that shiny! Ooh, that is good! And it's fire grass. I love it!
A fire grass type with the abilities Flash Fire, Drought, and Chlorophyll. I'm sure Chlorophyll would actually be well utilized since a sunny day would help power up its fire moves and even hasten its solar beam. Its dex entries will help you understand.
Stoutland float in the water with their bottom half submerged as to not douse the fire within its carapace. This existence makes Stoutland seem like a floating volcano in the distance. The fire within it keeps it warm in water, gives warmth to the plants that grow on its underside, and even attracts other Pokemon. Stoutland greets the Pokemon that follow its warmth with open claws. It will resurface at night, along along with the Pokemon it has collected for late-night parties. It roasts berries with its hot claws and feeds all those who party along with it. When strong Pokemon are attracted to the light and weak Pokemon that party with Stoutland, it will protect its guests by erupting, spewing magma onto the party poopers. Its guests will fuel its attacks by inserting wood into its volcano so it can perpetually attack their foes.
Honestly, I didn't mean to turn this Pokemon into a festive king, but it slowly became that,
and
now is one of my favorite Pokemon I've made. Finally, I want to steal Whimsicott's name. This whimsical piece of cotton can share that adorable name with a split evo of Duat. What if male Duat evolved into Samurai, while the females evolved into a strong otter inspired by geisha? It's a whimsical otter. This Pokemon will show the more elegant side of feudal Japan. Perhaps people will prefer my Fakemon over Samurott, since I'll try to make it look more otter-like, whereas Samurott takes a bit of inspiration from sea lions. So this concept is relatively easy to begin with. It's a feminine Samurott that takes more inspiration from Duat. A flatter face, with shells that mimic a geisha's hair instead of a samurai helmet. I originally wanted to give it a mermaid shell bikinis, since it felt like the perfect opportunity, but then I realized I very much wanted to make sure this Pokemon looks like it's adorned with traditional clothing, so I discarded that tacky idea. The whole point of this line, and even this Pokemon, is that otters actually do hold shells in the pockets they naturally have, so giving this Pokemon folds isn't a lazy attempt to make its skin look like clothes, but makes total sense with an otter. The patterns will sell the idea of a kimono.
I've actually seen otters put stuff in their pockets. It's a little freaky at first when you don't expect it, but it's actually kind of cute. It's almost like a mini, it's like a waddle kangaroo.
And the extra fur and skin in the stomach and waist will not only look like an obi or belt of a kimono, but will be one of the many places she places her weapons. Almost like an entertainer that is secretly holding a knife or a sharp hairpin to assassinate an official or samurai. She's basically a hidden kunoichi, or female ninja, that pairs with the samurai that is Samurott. The colors are Samurotts, but with more hints of Duats. Any good geisha needs a kimono with beautiful patterns, and a wave makes the most sense. Here is the lovely Whimsicott, the elegant Pokemon, a water type with the abilities Torrent and Shell Armor. Whimsicott evolves from female Duat when holding a shell pin at level 36.
I have a feeling this would actually be better if it was water fairy, just to help with the femininity of it.
Basically a shell in the...
I know I'm not saying that because all fairy types are feminine. I'm saying that because, for one, you know what? I completely lost my train of thought. I don't even know what I was actually going to prove.
Shape of a hairpin. But how does the dex justify the design?
Water fairy, that's all.
Carry themselves quite deliberately. Their majestic movements mimic the waves, and their expression always seems confident. They hide a variety of scalp chops beneath the folds of their skin and pockets of fur throughout their body. They will beguile their foes with charming movements before chopping them down with their shells. They are masters of getting close to their enemies and swiftly dispatching them with...
Wait, if you're gonna have it have cute charm in the dex, then that should be the second ability, cute charm.
Otter needles that they shoot from their mouth.
I generally think this combination of geisha and otter makes total sense, since both can be charming, but also quite talented and deadly, because they can make others let their guards down. And hopefully this video made you let your guard down enough to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to click the link in the description to download Hearthstone and play for free on your phone or PC.
Alright. Well, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of you next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.